Hey everybody, it is Kendell Lenice and welcome to Kendell Lenice Live, the interview series. I'm so excited about my show today because I have an amazing woman here. We're going to be talking about women's empowerment, mom guilt, mental health awareness, and a whole lot more. Stay tuned to Kendell Lenice Live. Glad that you came. Welcome in and tell a friend about my channel in this particular episode. Please subscribe and hit your notification buttons. All right, so I'm going to do this one a little differently. I'm going to tell you who I have, bring her up, and I want her to share the parts of her that she wants to share. So this is an honest conversation with a compassionate approach. Those are the type of interviews that I do right here on Kendell Lenice Live. All right, so my guest today is an amazing woman. You'll see her beauty, you'll see her education, right, as she speaks. But she's a woman just like any other woman watching this show. And I know people will look and say, okay, well, she has these degrees and she's this and she's that. But when you get a chance to talk to her, you'll realize that you're more alike than different. Without further ado, I'm welcoming to Dr. Naisha, that's my friend's name, and I'm thinking about her, Dr. Natasha Weems, DNP, and she's going to tell you that means too. Welcome to Kendell Lenice Live.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
You are welcome. I
Yes,
called you my friend Naisha. You are my friend Natasha, but you are not Naisha.
yes.
Naisha, like, why you think about me?
She must be a nice, a sweet person too. That's okay.
she,
So yes,
she
yes.
is.
Hi,
She is.
everyone. Yeah. So you want me to introduce
Welcome.
myself?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
So
want
I
you
am.
to, because normally I will introduce, but this one I want to do differently. I want you to share with you what you want people to know about you.
Oh, definitely. Well, I am Dr. Natasha Weems. I was born and raised in Detroit and I grew up there, and that's where I pretty much pursued most of my education and career track. And I now call California my home. I recently launched a MedSpa business, and I am just here to have a candid conversation. We're going to discuss self-care, just how to like deal with the mom guilt and just being successful and being equipped with those tools to help
Yes.
you along that journey. And many times, I'm an advocate as well for mental health and the women empowerment. And so
Mhm.
being able to be in a community and have women that are there for you that you can like approach and just confide in when you are feeling overwhelmed. And so I think that's important to have those tools, and it's a part of being success and being able to continue on and pretty much like accomplish your goals. So
Yeah, and that was very well said, and I think it's so important. I want to start exactly there. I want to talk about May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to talk about mental health. I want to check in with you. How is your mental at this moment?
I've really spent years building on some tools on how to deal with mental health. So it was times in
Mhm.
my life where I didn't know how to. I didn't know, that I was just utilizing some of those sayings that you work hard, play hard, and so sometimes when you strive to just be goal oriented, you sometimes don't like tap into that self-care and that mental health component. So now I can say that I'm in a healthy place. I have some peace and mental health truly. And that's very comforting at this season of my life. So
Yeah, and I love that. And I think it's so important as we're going to talk about mom guilt. I think it's so important to make sure when we talk about self-care, people think, let me go get my nails done, let me get a massage, let me get a facial. Although a massage is self-care because it really is not superficial. It really is to move that tissue around, and
Yeah.
it is health purposes. But people think about the outside, right? When it's talking about self-care, people are like, oh, I'm taking myself on a self date and go to the movies. And as a life coach, I definitely approve that message. Spend time with yourself, self-care in that way. But people don't understand that mental health, and tending to your mental health, getting a life coach, a counselor, a therapist, all three is so important. Let's talk about that now when we compare self-care to mental health. And to you, is it one and the same as well?
So I think that you can definitely approach both
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think that when we are talking about mental health, there might be just some different goals that we might have in mind to achieving that. And
Mm-hmm.
I do always advocate that it's important to, one, make sure you identify a support system whenever you're dealing with anything overwhelming in life. There's a lot of things that you can take into perspective when you're having some times in life where you're having some mental health challenges. So I always identify people that are in your support group. So you might have a family member, you might have a community, you might have a family in the church or wherever. But whatever you
Mm-hmm.
identify as mental health and having some peace and in a serene state, you can utilize those resources. So that's one. Also, identifying some support systems, professional support systems. So it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to reach out and have a mental health provider. In our
Mm-hmm.
communities, many times for African Americans, it's a stigma to identify with a mental health disorder and to also say that publicly you're going to seek professional help. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to be very intentional with trying to dispel that because it's very unhealthy. It can be counterproductive. And we just have to educate our community and understanding how paramount that can be with having a team behind you and actually accessing primary care, and primary care providers can also link you with mental health providers. So it's just important to know about some of those. And that's another project that I'm working on, helping people with mental health disorders, intellectual disabilities, being able to identify organizations within their community. Many times, if you're going through stressors in life and then having to go through insurance and having to go
Mm-hmm.
through Google, right? And trying to
Mm-hmm.
identify what direction to go in, that alone
Yeah.
is overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that is another project that I'm working on to help
Outstanding.
access resources for mental health. So
I
with
think
that being
that's
said,
phenomenal. I think
yeah,
that's phenomenal. And
and
you know, you made a great point, because oftentimes we, tell people, "Hey, seek therapy, seek coaching, counseling," and we don't steer them in the right direction. And I think it's so important. And it's overwhelming if you've never sought help, or you're just coming into that place where you're like, "You know what? Help is good." And I'm glad that we're eradicating the stigmas. I'm glad people are
yes.
openly saying, I just got out of my therapy session. Or,
Oh
yeah, I
yes.
got a life coach and a therapist. A lot of my clients, as a
Yeah.
life coach, they got a therapist as well, a counselor, a pastor. And sometimes this life is lifing, right? God is
Yes.
always on God, but life is
Yes.
lifing. And we need help. So I'm so glad that we're in a space and place now where people are not ashamed. We still have, some that are coming around, but you made the point of having the resources to try to figure out with insurance or not, or
Oh
trying
yeah.
to make sure that everybody is okay. Now,
Mhm.
again, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but I want to extend this conversation 365 days of the year, because it is
Right.
so important, right?
Yes, definitely. And you know what I really, it's interesting that you say that, but what I really like and can appreciate is like really men in the community or have a platform that are really encouraging other men especially to reach out as well, because they always seem to be very stoic. They're providers, they're, the strength, source of their family. And so when I see people on these platforms and they're encouraging this, it just really makes me really excited and happy to know that that is happening. So it's becoming more normalized.
Yes. Yes, and this channel is all about remixing the narratives in the Black
Yeah,
community, like what you thought we were, or what you thought we were capable of, or what conversations we have. This channel is the opposite. We're remixing that narrative of the Black community. So I just did a show before this, and I was talking about that with men and how men are vulnerable, men are human, they emote, they need the same thing, and we have to
yeah,
stop, as a community, pushing it down. A 5-year-old, man up, stop crying. How is the 5-year-old going to man up and stop crying? He's not a man. You know what I mean? And the strong Black woman, you could do it. What is doesn't need to keep being said over and over again. We know we're strong. We know we're resilient. We know, but sometimes we're weak. Sometimes we're vulnerable. Sometimes we're unsure. Sometimes we're insecure. It has to
absolutely,
be all of those things coexisting, you know?
absolutely.
I want to talk to you about mom guilt. I was listening to a podcast today, and Sherry Shepherd, it was on Jamel Hill's podcast, and Sherry Shepherd was a guest. And they brought up mom guilt, and I was like, oh, we're going to talk about this later. So
Later.
it was serendipitous that I heard that, but she was saying her mom guilt was so severe that she
Oh,
wouldn't do anything. She would feel like she was going to miss everything in her child Jeffrey's life. And now that he's 18, she's still trying to figure out how to maneuver that. Have you ever experienced mom guilt, and why is that important for your platform to be able to highlight that?
so absolutely. I've experienced mom guilt, and I've encountered so many women who also have experienced it, and they've reached out to me because they really are baffled about how do you really tackle a career, family, children, and still feel like you're not missing out big major parts of their life. So what I can say is what was key for me, because many, I don't know if many know, but I have a child that's autistic. And so when you say mom guilt, I mean, I
Wow,
really get mom guilt.
Sherry Shepherd's son is artistic as well.
So I
Wow, that
spent
really
so
kind
many
of.
I spent so many years like trying to be strong and trying to be everything. And also, I decided I was intentional with pursuing my education and my career because I was always taught to be self sufficient. So, regardless if you had a partner, a helpmate, or whatever your situation was, you have to be self sufficient. So, after being like the premise of everything that my decisions were, I had a lot of mom guilt because my daughter received this autistic diagnosis early in life. And I was a young mother. And so to have all of this on your plate, trying to figure out if you could still have an identity outside of being a mother and a wife and a family, and also just trying to, we are born, we all have a purpose. And so just trying to channel in on the things that I had my calling and things that I wanted to pursue in life. So it was years where I had mom guilt, and I really had to tap into a support system. I really had to learn
Mhm.
how to do time management, and I had to learn how to really love myself and give myself grace. Oh, every chance I got, I would beat myself up. Oh, I have an exam. I would stay up for 24 hours. That's how
Oh,
driven.
wow.
Yeah, I'm a very driven person, and I have like,
Mhm.
like tunnel vision at times. And so I
Yes.
had to really understand that there's a balance in life. You have to have balance, and you have to have time management, and you have to have a support system. And if you're in a leadership role, you should implement that in an organization where you're encouraging families, mothers, your employees to actually have some self care and take some time off and be an advocate for that, even in the organization at the workplace, because that's where a lot of it stems from. You're trying to accomplish the goals at work. You're trying to be seen as someone dependable. You're trying to go to school. You're, trying to pursue your
Mm-hmm.
education. And yet you come home and
Mm-hmm.
you have so many roles, right? You still have to be a mother. You still have
Mm-hmm.
to do homework for your kids. And so life can have so many different directions where there's roles and pressure that's coming at you. But when you have time to give yourself grace, time management, identify some of your resources, and also encouraging people within the workplace and leadership to actually be advocates for self care and mental health. It's all important. And we need that support, especially as and mothers and men. Men are sometimes, single fathers, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
men say, hey, I'm a single father and I'm raising my child
Mm-hmm.
by myself. And so we need to acknowledge them as well. So.
Absolutely. Man, you said a mouthful. That was, I mean, perfectly said, because everything you said is so key and so important. Definitely, there are a lot of single dads out there that need the support as well, and they have the parent guilt as well. But
Yes,
you
they do.
have moms, and you talked about special needs. That's a whole different kind, from what I hear. That is a different kind of mom guilt, and you're trying to pursue your career and trying to pursue your degrees, and you were trying to do everything, like you said, as a young mom, because that's what you were taught, and you knew that you wanted to make a better life for your child. So then there's that pressure, on top of it, then the guilt because you have to spend time away. How did that affect your emotional health time? And I know mom
So,
guilt never goes away. My daughters are grown, and you still have that mom guilt,
you
but
do.
it's how you are able to put it in perspective. But how did it affect your emotional health?
I had to really realize that if I didn't be intentional with my self care as a mother, that I would have poor outcomes. And so it's so
Mm,
important that we really identify whatever it is that self care means to you. Because we can't say, like you said, a massage or a nail day, that might not be for every person. So, first of all, let's identify what is self care to you, whatever brings you that peace, whatever helps rejuvenate you, and to have that mental health strength to help you throughout the course of the work week. I think that's what you need to identify first. So for me, I knew that if I wasn't taking care of myself, I would not be able to take care of my family.
yeah.
And so being able to identify that
Mm,
and knowing as a healthcare provider that cardiovascular disease and diabetes is killing so many people in our community, and it's very simple to address and to prevent. So those are some things that were very important to me, and just identifying and being an advocate for that. But healthcare providers can be an advocate for everyone else, but they're not providing self-care for themselves. And it's so common, so common. We will tell you all day long what you need to do, but we don't do that for ourselves. And that's the honest truth.
I've heard that before. It's so interesting because you guys watching now, thank you so much for watching and participating in the conversation. I so appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe. I had a panel. I do panels often. I had a whole doctors panel of Black women, different types of doctors, and we had an open conversation, and that conversation was mind blowing. And I totally believe that. It's
Oh,
easy
it's
to
so
tell someone else what they should do, but then you're in your own life running around, like on a hamster wheel, and you're not addressing what's needed. I wanted to go back to DNP. I know what that means, but could you explain some of your educational background for the viewers who are probably saying, what is DNP?
So I am from Michigan. I went to Oakland University for my bachelor's degree. I pursued a degree in communications from Wayne State University. I went on for a master's degree for nurse practitioner, adult geriatrics, and primary care. And then I also went for doctor of nursing practice. And so with that, I've pretty much was in primary care, acute care, inpatient, outpatient, and dealing with the geriatric, the homeless population. That was like the best role for me, the homeless population. It was amazing just hearing the testimony and being able to really, like be a part of that journey to help people with mental health illness. That was really, really close to my heart. And so now I'm dealing with, just launched a MedSpa business. So that's a whole different journey, but you still help people feel good about themselves and health and wellness. I'm always teaching about that being key, right?
Yeah.
Self-care, promoting health and wellness, weight loss management, all of those things are important for longevity.
Man, I mean, first, I've had the pleasure of interviewing you before. So I definitely wanted to make sure I put people on notice to let them know, like, this is not a game for you. Like, you've spent time in school, you've had a full career in being of service, and allowing God to lead your life. And I can clearly see him in you when you're talking about being of service, and you're talking about the homeless population, and you're talking about mental health and wanting to see people win. And I love that you work closely with the homeless population, because everybody, and I won't say everybody, a lot of people are a paycheck away. And a lot of people look at, you know what I'm saying? And a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
people look at the homeless
Yeah.
population of ill, but those people had long lives. And sometimes, a lot of times, mental health issues played a part in it, and losing their job. And it led to this and to this in a chain of events. Can you share a story about maybe someone who you connected with out there, and you were ministering really to them?
You know what? I'm glad you said that because people tend to have a belief that many people are homeless because of poor decisions, or they believe that it's because of drug abuse, or people just wake up and want to, do make those decisions, but that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're dealing with that population from day to day for
Mm-hmm.
years, you really understand and you really learn them. And I treat my patients or people that I encounter as my family. So if I
Mm,
tell you and I give you a plan of care, it's the same plan of care I get of my mother. It's the same plan of care I get of my father. And it's okay to, really open up and be transparent with your patients, because that's how you connect with your patients and that's how they'll trust you.
mm-hmm.
My patients would gladly go get an order or a test or follow up with me because they know I care about them and they know I have their back. So that's
Right.
important. That's really
Yeah.
important. So I've encountered patients that were suicidal and really felt overwhelmed. And I was their accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. Okay, guess what? So Friday, guess where you're going to be? You're going to be right here in the office visiting me.
Yeah.
You're going to check in with me and you're
Yeah.
going to, do you
That's
see what I'm
good.
saying? Because
That's
that
good.
made them feel like, why does she care this much to, take her Friday and stay over later just to have me check in with her? Even if it wasn't physically a physical check in by phone, I want to hear your voice.
I
I
love
want you
that.
to know that I care about you. And I want to know, is there anything else that we can do for you? Resources, anything in the community, any way I can connect you. We're all human beings. So, and like you said, anyone can be one paycheck away from being homeless, one
Yes.
IRS visit from having your
Come on.
mansion, your lifestyle taken away from you. So, we all have to be gracious and have gratitude and be humble and be thankful and always thanking God for his grace.
Come
Always.
on. Come
And so,
on.
and that's how I strive to be. And that's just, that's who I am at my core.
Yeah.
So, dealing with the homeless population was just really a life learning lesson for me, and it was just like something I would do over and over again. I really enjoyed it.
But it shows your heart, because you have to have a heart for people and a passion for people, just to even be a nurse. And then as you've gone up in the ranks, because some of them, it's a certain type of person that's called and assigned to be a nurse. And I know
Yeah,
I've been in the hospital. I'm like, I don't know if that
I
was your
do
assignment,
this.
Bruce. I don't
All the
know.
others.
I don't know if maybe you missed maybe that call was for somebody else. Then I meet amazing nurses and hospital staff, and I'm like, yes, everybody has their assignment in their and I can see that it's yours because you truly care. And a lot of times in Western medicine, we know they just want to give you a pill, go get that prescription filled, and
Yeah.
that's what you're going to do. And it's not caring about the person, even listening. And I know when I had the doctors panel on here, they were talking about the amount of time that certain insurance company allow. I think it was like 9 minutes. I can't remember. It was something crazy that I had no idea, that they're like, it's almost like get you in and out, and you don't have time to be
That's
personable
true.
and connect. You want to talk a little bit about that? Because I thought that was so eye-opening, and all the doctors were chiming in like, yes, because how can we do this? And how, man, you
You
want to
know
talk about
what?
that?
That is very, very true. I starting off in my nursing career, I was in the inner city, and we had just several patients lined up to be seen, and those comments are very, very true. I was fortunate to be in a situation and an environment where I was allowed more time because of environments that were particularly geared towards the homeless population. So those situations were designed for you to be able to spend more time with your patients, and mental health appointments are longer, in most instances. So I do
Yeah,
understand both. You are in
yeah,
situations where you can't ask the patient or do extra check-in visits. Like, I completely understand that. But
yeah.
I luckily was in an environment where I can structure my day to, really
I
tap
love that.
in and be more one-on-one with my patients and give them extra time. And so, and I'm the type of person, I would do things that wasn't necessarily expected of me. So although I have these
Yeah.
degrees, guess who would be on the floor like cutting toenails? Like me,
Come
me.
on.
Yeah, because
Come
you're not
on.
going to walk in my clinic and because of your situation, your health or your self-care has been neglected because you're trying to figure out what meal you're going to eat.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
You're trying
deep.
to figure out, yeah. So you're trying to figure out how to stay alive. So when I meet
Woo,
people like that, I try to figure out what could I do to change their day? Like,
woo.
what little, because that's a small thing, but not
Yeah.
to them, not
Yeah.
to them. And
Yeah.
so you don't have to be like a nursing assistant or a nurse to do things like that. Well, it doesn't matter what your
Yeah.
role is. If you have the time, obviously,
To do
and
it.
are able to do things like that, then I definitely, felt like that made a difference in that person's life. And so that's the person I am. I started off as a nursing assistant, and a lot of people feel like that makes a difference
Yeah.
at
So you know
when you're,
what it is to be with the people. Like
I
you're
know
not
what it is
above
at
anything.
every level.
Yeah, and that's so important, because if you're a nursing assistant, you're not above the what they may call grunt work or messy work. Like you get in there, and I think that that's so important, and it shows. So I want to, as we wind down, I want to. You had a clinic, and now you have a med spa. I want you to talk about the med spa for people that don't know what a med spa is and some of the things you offer and how they can find you.
Yeah, so I am in Southern California, which is, I don't know if you guys are more familiar with Temecula, the wine country. Many people travel from all around the world to, visit different parts of California for the wine country. So I am in Marietta, California, and we offer a lot of different med spa services, chemical facial peels, and different types of hair loss rejuvenation and weight loss management, and just really tailored diets and meal plans to help you paramount to whatever type of goal that you have health wise. We try to help you address that. And I am, partnered with the Dr. Solar. She has different techniques as well, more machines and lasers and different approaches as well. So I just think that it's very powerful that health providers can link together and partner together and really offer more of abundance of services. So it's a really fun thing to do every day, to wake up and do what you love and to help people, maintain and reach their level of health.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I want to get your contact information for everybody, but I want to ask you before we start our game, as we end, I want to ask you how important is empowering other women to you?
So I think that that's really my mission. I when we had our last interview, I told you I felt like, I was just going through another season of my life. And you was like, I can feel that energy from you.
Mm-hmm.
But God is calling me to love, to step up to a different level, and He's asking me to be an inspiration to others. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
still really trying to meditate and really get aligned with what it is that He's asking me to do specifically. But I
Mm-hmm.
know that many women reach out to me and they're asking me, after, and I have a whole story of things that I've been through in my life, and one was divorce. And so, and women ask me that know me or know me from the community, and they say, how did you reach this level? How did you still like push on, and how are you just like crushing your goals like this? And so I realized like that is something that women really want. They want a community. They want to know how they can still be strong and how they can
Mm-hmm.
still be successful and how they can still manage a household, manage a
Mm-hmm.
career, and still come out victorious because you can.
Ooh, because you can, because you are
Regardless.
chosen, because
Exactly.
you are chosen, you are set apart because you can. And it's all about, we are what we speak. We know that. We know
Yes,
death and life is in the power of our tongue, right?
that's
So if
right.
we
Yes,
speak it, he's going to hear it because that was his promise all along.
that
So
is
I
right.
love that he wants to use you in that way. That's, I already know that's right up my alley. So I love it. All right, tell the people before we play our game and end, tell the people how they can get in contact with you, website, social media, if they're in California and they want to make an appointment.
Yeah, come see me. You could go on the MedSpa site. It's Care First Wellness, medspa.com. And I am at Dr. Natasha underscore on Instagram. And my number is 951-566-2099. You can call the spa and make an appointment as well. But if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I am a person that tries to follow up with some of my comments and questions as best as I can. But yeah, thank you.
I love it. All right. Everybody, you already see this positive light right here. She is brains and beauty. I know cliche, but she is. And she has a caring heart and a love for God. Like, duh. I mean, reach out to her. I mean, to me, it's all the components coming together. And she has a special needs child. So there is a tenderness that you need to even be able to raise a child with special needs. It's important to take care of your health. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, but we want you to tend to your mental health and your emotional health 365 days of the year. If you need help, ask for help. Say you need help. Say, I'm not good. Somebody asks, how
Yeah,
you doing? I'm not good. Let them know, because if you're around here trying to be the strong black man or woman or whatever nationality or race you are, and you're not feeling that on the inside, right? Then no one's going to know you need help. So it's time to start asking for what you want. And it's time to start making self care your priority, whatever it is that makes you emotionally release, makes you feel more of yourself, makes you laugh more, make you more content, make you feel great, you know what I mean? Then
yeah,
do more of that, because you're going to need that. Stop being the loyal employee. And I'm talking to somebody out here because this was me. Stop being a loyal employee. Back in the day, I never missed a day. I worked for a nonprofit running for 13 years, never missed a day. I wore it like a badge of honor. And I realized I was teaching my children incorrectly, because even no matter how I was feeling, I was there to show up for my clients, right? And I had to learn that it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not coming in today. You don't owe anybody an explanation other than yourself. If you're not feeling it, I ain't trying to get nobody fired. But at the same time, you got to put yourself first, because if that company closed down today or tomorrow, or they decided they wanted to get rid of you, then they will replace you and they wouldn't think twice. So you think about yourself. I definitely had to say that. All right, you ready for our game, Dr.
I think so.
Come on, it's easy. It's easy. 5 minutes is fun. All right. I'm going to answer the question without an explanation, and then we're going to end the show. All right. The first one, this or that, breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast.
Spring or fall?
Fall.
Vacationing, adventurous or relaxing?
Adventurous.
Night owl or early bird?
Night out.
What's your hidden talent?
Compassion.
What makes you laugh out loud? Literally.
A compliment.
Favorite movie? Every time it's on, you're going to watch it no matter what part you're catching in.
Blood Diamonds.
Okay. Your go-to song. That song that no matter when you put it on, you're feeling, looking amazing and feeling good.
I like Mary J. Not Gonna Cry.
Does it make you cry, or does it really tell you I'm not gonna cry?
No, I just love that song. It's so powerful.
Okay. All right. So what would people be surprised to know about you?
That I'm taking private pilot lessons and I like to go skydiving. I'm very adventurous.
What?
I'm very
you said
adventurous.
Vacation. So I can get on your plane.
I'm just starting back up with my private pilot license, but I thought that would be very.
You see me. I'm surprised. I'm messing up the game because I'm really invested. Wow. All right. Using the first letter of your first name, describe yourself.
Oh gosh. Never ending joy.
I love that. Last question, Dr. Natasha, what brings you joy?
Motherhood.
I love that. Thank you for joining me today on Kendell Lenice Live. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Everybody, yes, thank you so much for watching Kendell Lenice Live. Please subscribe to my channel and share this, because I know it's a woman in your life that needs to hear Dr. Natasha talk about self-empowerment, encouraging a woman with a special needs child, mom guilt. There's so many moms out there feeling the guilt. Definitely share this episode to someone who you know needs it. Allow them to be blessed. If you loved it, they're going to love it too. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching Kendell Lenice Live. Remember, you are a star, so don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Till next time, God bless. Peace. Let me see. One more comment. Let's see. Okay. They enjoyed the show. Just checking. All right. God bless y'all. Peace.
Bye.